The Democrat governor of Illinois has criticised Donald Trump's plan to send the National Guard into Chicago. J.B. Pritzker has labelled the plans an abuse of power that will cause chaos. But former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel says while the move is unnecessary, Democrats need to show they're serious about crime.
The attack here is also in the area of prosecutions, and the U.S. attorneys' offices across the country should get back to prosecuting gun crimes in cities across the country and states across the country, unlike what's happening in D.C. And Democrats' answer isn't here's the law or this is unprecedented, which is true. We have a strategy for fighting crime. More police on the beat and getting kids, gangs and guns off the street.
This all came after the Washington Post. Now the New York Times reports the Pentagon has come up with a plan to send the National Guard into Chicago as part of the US president's plan to crack down on crime.
Let's go now!
Let's go now!
In the US Capitol, this was the response from some at least to the National Guard taking to the streets. A move by Donald Trump to tackle crime that he's described as out of control. And now growing concern and anger that the Republican president is planning the same in another city run by Democrats, this time Chicago.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one up probably next. That'll be our next one after this, and it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. When we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C.
But there, as in Washington, violent crime is actually falling. The sense of emergency certainly wasn't too evident on the streets.
I feel very safe, you know. I mean, it's like lovely, the weather's good.
I've been here for just over a week now and I haven't had any problem.
I don't think that we need military in Chicago, New York, D.C.
The response from the governor of Illinois said it all. There is no emergency that warrants the President of the United States federalizing the Illinois National Guard, deploying the National Guard from other states, or sending active duty military within our own borders. Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he's causing working families. And it's a plan described by the city's vilified mayor as uncoordinated, uncalled for and unsound. But none of that will stop the president, intent on showing he'll stop at nothing to clear the streets of crime. Emma Birchley, Sky News.
And it could be New York and Baltimore next. Joining us live now is Joe Siracusa, who's also from Chicago. So if the Guard was to go in anywhere, Joe, should it be the long-time high-crime city of She-Town?
Well, I don't think so, Pete. You know, I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. They're just down the block from Leroy Brown and those people. Look, Chicago's a very interesting place for Chicagoans. As soon as you start to introduce federal troops, unless there's a riot or a place is burning down, it's going to be a mistake. Now, keep in mind, Greater Chicago is 9.3 million people. Chicago itself, that's what the president has control over, the ability to go in, is about 2.7 million people, less than Melbourne, as a matter of fact. It's a Democratic town, and it's a sanctuary town. And the mayor there, Brandon Johnson, is the most unpopular man in the United States. He has a 26% popularity rating. And, you know, the crime there it ebbs and flows. It all depends what neighborhood you live in, whether you run into a crack dealer at 12 o'clock. We all know what happened to Smollett and people like that. They say they got mugged going to get a Subway sandwich at 3 in the morning, which you should, actually. But the thing is that Pritzker down in state, the governor, he's running for president. Brandon Johnson's running for his political life. And the president would have to apportion those troops across 77 neighborhoods. 20 probably don't need to see any extra cops or anything. And Chicago has the third largest police force in the United States, 12,800 sworn officers. So, you know, normally they're in control. But look, what do you do about a drive-by shooting? Now, your package with Rahm Emanuel, former mayor of Chicago, suggests that the problem is prosecution. Chicago has kind of a way of letting people back out on the street again. And so he's saying, you know, the problem there is to come down hard on crime after you have arrested somebody.
Well, Rahm wants to run for president too, does he not?
hey, look, in America, everybody wants to run for president. You know, it's after Donald Trump, you know, it makes, you know, it's open house. I mean, everybody thinks they can do it. They think it's a reality show. And of course, in many ways, the presidency of the United States is a reality show. But look, the president wants to bring in troops. He wants to come down on ice, and it's a sanctuary city. Right. That is, cops and people there do not cooperate with the federal government, and he wants to do that. He's been doing that in New York City. So the president is you know, beginning, or I'm saying he's continuing his retribution around the United States. He's going after individuals. Now he's going after cities, and this may be a little harder.
So
than
leads
John Bolton. This is hard.
That leads me to my next point, because I mean, it's already happened in California, DC, now maybe Chicago, New York, Baltimore. I mean, the common thread is that all these cities are in Democrat states, Joe. So is it a reminder that the Democrats are weak on crime?
Yeah, he wants to stick it to them. And keep in mind too, Pete, that in the United States, the governor and the mayor, particularly Los Angeles, the mayor of Chicago, it's a patronage city. You know, if you want to be police chief, you're appointed by the mayor. Fire department, appointed by the mayor. All the jobs there are patronage jobs. So people who don't even like the Democrats tend to vote Democrat because they want to keep their jobs. But it's a very hard ask. And asking young people from Illinois to go in and to guard neighborhoods and wait for the next drive-by shooting, well, what's it going to solve? I think the president is performing here, and you know, it's going to probably backfire. This all backfires sooner or later, because unless you have a real riot, these particular people are not necessarily necessary. But look, the president's made it very clear to the people who want to be president, I'm coming for you. I'm not waiting for you to come to me. So it's a real signal to them to pay attention.
Sure is. Joe Siracusa, our man on a Monday, also from Chicago, so he knows his stuff. As always, Joe, thank you so much. We'll chat again soon.